My name's Jeff Reese. I'm actually a network engineer here at Key Information Systems. I've been in the industry for over 32 years, and I've worked with very large companies. I was self-employed for 12 years as a consultant. I've worked with Northrop Grumman. I've worked with other hotel chains. Depending on what was needed, I was actually a part of their network engineering. Network engineering is an interesting animal. It really needs some care and feeding. And currently companies don't do that. Probably about 80% of the companies out there have some type of network problem. And they'll see it as a slowness. You'll see complaints from their users, and they really don't know what it is. That's where I come in. That's where actually this company comes in. We're able to come in as a level 4 troubleshooting system. Normally companies only have up to level 3, but because of our extensive experience, we're able to find wherever the bottleneck is, or find the individual that's downloading the videos in the middle of the morning, find the person that is downloading songs to facilitate slowing down their WAN connections. WAN connections are probably the most expensive, so companies don't really put a lot of money into them. They don't put a 10 megabit connection, although we're moving towards metro 10 megs. There's still, it's a cost, and unless they have dark fiber between point-to-point locations, they're going to have to spend the money with the AT&Ts and the Verizons that actually charge for those connections. And because those connections are expensive, they have a tendency of making them small or just getting by. So when somebody comes and downloads a video or does a video chat or downloads their day's worth of songs, because the company's internet connection is faster than their home connection, this has a tendency of dragging down the systems. Those are just part of it. There's a wide variety. We've seen problems where the client actually brings in a DSL modem that they're no longer using, plugs it in because they have multiple devices, but not thinking about the fact that that DSL modem is actually going to be a DHCP server also. So anybody that connects in there and gets the IP addressing really has no gateway out, and they can't figure out why only some clients are having a problem and others are not. So there's just a wide array of problems. Another major problem is what normally happens is network engineers come and go. Unfortunately, they don't stay in companies for very long. Because usually the companies don't have the newest, greatest, and latest technology, so they want to move on to another company to get more experience or more access to newer technologies. So what will happen is because they've gone through a couple of network engineers, the second and third and fourth network engineer really doesn't know what the first one did. So what will happen is the spanning tree protocol is probably one of the major problems. Because the first guy, it can be set up 8 different ways, and if you have 8 different engineers, they all have their own opinion of how it's supposed to be installed. But it can cause a lot of problems within a network. It can cause temporary outages in specific areas or in remote areas, depending on how large the company. One of the companies I would work with has a mile square building. And what would happen is the spanning tree protocol would actually cause a problem at one side of the building, and it would ripple through the entire building. So the outages were not consistent, and it took us a while to run down the fact that their spanning tree protocols were not set up correctly. So it's, in fact, if you look at it, Cisco is actually recommending that you don't use spanning tree and go straight layer 3. Which is inconsistent in some situations because most applications don't run in layer 3. They're always a LAN application, which brings you to the next problem. If you have a data center sitting in one location and you don't set it up correctly, or you don't consider the fact that the application is a LAN application and not really a WAN application, and it has real-time or real-time needs or timeout needs for remote connections, you'll have a large problem in running that application. I've seen that happen between California and New York because of the slowness, the milliseconds between the two. It's impossible to get 1 millisecond between here and New York. Generally, you'll look at a variety of milliseconds depending on where they are physically located. according to the actual backbone of the internet. But some of the applications need quicker responses, and you have to start facilitating for those responses. So generally, people will actually put in a data center without considering what the application's requirements are. So you do need to know what's going on. You do need to do an investigation of what your applications are capable of and what their requirements are.